Hi, welcome. My name is Angelique. I am back with a new astrology video. We're understanding astrology, and today I'm talking about my personal favorite, Sun in Gemini, because I have Sun in Gemini. So it is going to be really fun. I'm excited to talk about it. If it's your first time listening to me, I am someone who has been a student of astrology for over 30 years since I was a kid. And also, I have over 10 years of experience in psychology as a counselor, mental health. So I really like uncovering things, learning about ourselves, our psychology, our patterns, our behaviors. And astrology helps us do that in a different way, a nuanced way, I feel like. So, what I like to do is bring in the mythology, the symbolism, the elements, earth, air, water, and fire, and bring them all together to really help us understand this placement. I feel like that's the best way I've understood signs in the zodiac and astrology and my birth chart. So if you have Sun in Gemini or you're looking for information on that, this video could help understand it in my own way. So we are going to start with the sign and the mythology attached to it. So the sign being Gemini, there's a lot out there, especially in pop psychology, but I think mythology does a good job of really illuminating what this sign is and the energy, because a sign isn't just a sign in a person's human form. It's the energy, it's the spiritual components, and so Mercury is what is the ruler of Gemini. Mercury also rules Virgo, but we're going to focus on Gemini here. And I will be doing a Virgo video, so there'll be a double dose. And sometimes I think it's helpful to look at both if a ruler shares another sign, just for me, because sometimes I feel like some of the Virgo information out there helps a little bit when we're talking about behavior, and especially when we're talking about Gemini, because behavior, communication, that is Gemini's home. So as we're exploring this and what it really means to understand Sun and Gemini, Mercury is a very fascinating god. He is a Roman god, but as I've said before in other videos, Roman and Greek mythology kind of feed off of each other. They have replicants. So Mercury is the Roman god, but in Greek, the what do you call it? The equivalent would be Hermes. So they share some similarities. So you can look up the Greek mythology if you would like as well. I'm going to focus on the Roman mythology because that's what's named after the planet Mercury. So Mercury is a god that's known for a lot of things, and that seems to be where Gemini gets this jack of all trades. Mercury mostly is the messenger of the gods. It was someone who was communicating a lot, sharing messages back and forth. So taking information from one person and going and sending it somewhere else. Mercury is the god of boundaries, of commerce, god of communication. Also, divination is included in this as well, which I'll talk a little more later when we get into personifying Son of Gemini. But Mercury is also the god of financial gain and languages and luck and thieves and travelers and trickery. And he is also a guide for souls to the underworld. So there is so much to unpack here. But specifically for Gemini, I think it's good to know that Mercury was a very popular god. Like among all the other gods, he was the one that was very social and everyone seemed to like him. And he was going back and forth and doing small travel. It's important to know that Mercury's father is Jupiter, and Jupiter is known for big travel, expansive travel. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. That's why a lot of people who have Sagittarius placements really like long distance travel, cross borders, countries, expats, doing a lot with like foreign countries and cultures. Whereas Mercury is the sun, so when we take that mythology, Mercury likes travel, but in smaller doses, more local, like wants to be quick. Taking a 2-day boat ride is not very quick. Mercury would get that energy would get very bored. So it likes to do things on foot, if best, or something really local. So, in a nutshell, Mercury, when we think about it with Gemini, it brings high social ability, likes communication, but something more light, doesn't like to stay in something too long, likes to travel, likes trading, goods and services and commerce, and also anything relating to communication. So, languages, divination, communication, especially. So, that is Mercury, and I'm keeping this brief because I could go forever about mythology, but just a snapshot I feel like can help us start to really get into the understanding of this placement. So, now that we have the mythology down, talking about the symbolism and the elements. Elements play in a lot because it really helps us ground this sign and find practical patterns, solutions, behaviors. And Gemini is a sign of air. And when we have air, it's a interesting element because it's not something that's easily detected with the human eye, the naked eye, but it can do so much damage. And that is what I always think of for air signs, but especially Gemini because of the communication aspect, because of the gift of gab, so to speak. So people who have Gemini placements are going to naturally do so well when it comes to communication and thoughts and languages, even if they might not feel like they do the best at it. Like if they have other things going on in their natal chart and upbringing, you're still going to be naturally better at it than most people who have like no air or no Gemini placements. But so we have air and we combine air with fire because the sun's fire and the sun wants to grow things and really wants is a very impulsive energy, can be impulsive, can want to grow at all costs. And so when you have that with air, it can really be great or damaging. And that's because air with fire, I think of the image of you have a bonfire, you're around a campsite. If you use enough force directly, air, you can snuff it out completely. You can put that fire out. So, too much analytical quality and not enough grounded, passionate, or emotions put into someone who has Sun and Gemini into their goals, so to speak, can really kind of keep them from growing. But it can also get wildly out of control because wildfires, fanning the flames, those phrases. So air in an interesting way where it's like not enough at a certain right amount if we're using it in kind of a sneaky way, or we are just trying to go after something that we're passionate about and we use air and not the right way, it can cause devastation. Like just think of gossip. Gossip is something that a lot of Gemini placements probably have dealt with at one time or another. That can ruin lives. That can make people really feel bad about themselves. So there's a lot more care that needs to be taken in place when people have Sun and Gemini because there's a high intellect with this placement. Any Gemini air quality, any air signs with Sun and Gemini, since this is such a high intelligence, but when we have too much intelligence and we don't have enough emotional rapport or passion or practicality, it can lead to a lot of criminal behavior. And this is what I think gives people the stereotype of Geminis being sneaky or two-faced. But when this energy is done right, it sits in this sweet spot of being very social and pleasant with other people, getting your goals met, and having just more fun with life. But it can turn dark kind of easily because there's this unseen quality. So Sun and Gemini folks, you might even be unaware of you hurting other people with your words, with what you're doing, if there's lying, if there's cheating, things like that. You might see the ends justify the means and not know what is going on. So this Gemini is very similar to Sagittarius in a way, where there can be a blunt directness in communication that can hurt or harm people. So that's just something to think about. But when used for good, there's so many natural talents. I don't even think I have time to talk about it because Mercury really did everything as a god. So when we have Sun and Gemini, you can shine for anything, really anything that has to do with communication, and that is broad. So it doesn't just have to be talking, although a lot of speech writers, songwriters, poets, authors have Sun and Gemini placement. A lot of actors, they're using language that way. But on a smaller scale, this can be just teaching. This can be you're working with any type of like shipping, logistics, but on a smaller scale. Any type of commerce. So a lot of salespeople, but maybe more like sales analyst or market analyst. Anything where you get to really use your analytical ability, because with with this intelligence that comes with a Gemini and being curious, you want to find things out. So it might not be enough for you to uh, just be a salesperson that's at a cash register and helping people. You might want to be behind the scenes and figure out, okay, how can we get people into the store more? How can we push this product? How can we do that? So you might get into market research and not just sales. So commerce aspect, you can be the face of it, like the CEO, the person that's going around, but you also can be more behind the scenes too. It just depends on where you're at. But those are just a few options of where we really shine, because the sun is going to illuminate any part of your chart. And when we have Sun and Gemini, it's going to illuminate that part of our personality that likes to be curious, that likes to be learning and sharing, especially when it comes to other people or one-on-one. So any type of activity or job or career where your personality gets to be curious, gets to be witty, gets to communicate with other people, or you get to really use language in a way for other people or to an end goal, you can really shine doing that. And so there we have it. This is Sun and Gemini. If you have this placement, I'd be curious to see how this comes up for you. If any of this resonated, that would be great to leave a comment, or you can also send an email. That's in the description box below. I am hoping to answer some questions, astro related or not. We'll see what comes up. That's all there for you. But otherwise, thank you so much for listening and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.